Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by Hockey Think Tank U, an online community for all hockey players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. With Hockey Think Tank U, you get an exclusive Hockey Think Tank resource or video every single day. You can get it on your desktop, or we actually have an app where you can get it on your phone, and it's really, really easy. So whether it's Mindset Monday to help you be at your best, Tactics Tuesday to help you better understand the X's and O's of the game, Parent Thursday to get unbiased guidance to help you navigate your youth hockey journey for your child, there is something in Hockey Think Tank U for anyone. And if you love the podcast, one of the biggest things we've done is we've taken the best clips from our 7+ years of doing it, and it's all in one place in Hockey Think Tank U, and it's all categorized into buckets for players, coaches, and parents as well. My favorite thing with Hockey Think Tank U is every Friday I make myself available for a Zoom for anybody. It's an Ask Me Anything. It's an office hours where you can come on if you're a parent that needs a little bit of advice for your kid, or if you're a coach that just want to talk some shop. I get to interact with you guys. It's not like the podcast where it's me and Vex talking kind of at you. This is where we can actually talk with you, and it's really, really fun. So join the over 250 plus people already in and sharing their knowledge and perspective with each other, and gaining even more info from some of my friends at the highest levels of the game who've shared their expertise. And the biggest thing for us is we do not want to price people out of anything in hockey. So the price for being in Hockey Think Tank U is about $170 for the entire year. However, if you cannot afford that, we will give it to you for free. And I've had plenty of people that have already reached out saying, hey, I'm paying enough for this hockey thing for my kid. Can you give me a little bit of a break? And we've done that for every single person. So we love Hockey Think Tank U, and we'll leave a link at the bottom of the show notes here that you can click to join us. And if you can't pay for it, if it's just out of that realm, then just shoot me a DM or shoot me an email, and we'll get it to you for free there. So Hockey Think Tank U. Now, to today's episode. Really, really fun one. Just Vex and I, and we talk about the 5 biggest attributes of the truly, truly, truly elite players that we know. And this was a lot of fun. We get into some personal experiences. We talk about some players that we have played with, talk about players that we've coached that have achieved some of the highest levels of this game, including the NHL. And we hope that there is something in there for you, especially if you are a youth player that has hopes and dreams of playing in the NHL or the PWHL one day. So really, really fun episode. Before we do get to it, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, the one Jeffrey Jehu Lavecchio. Jeffrey, Jehu, what's shaking, Mr. USA, man?
Oh, yeah. Remember when I always used to say that, like the Kool-Aid guy, like in year one? That was so long ago, but
oh, yeah.
I think I said it every time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always think of that Dane Cook skit, old, like early 2000s, kicking through the wall.
That was one of the
like
funniest jokes of all time back in the day.
You know, I was telling some of the pro guys in the gym the other day, I was talking about like that old album that we had. And I think he actually recorded it in the St. Louis Comedy Club, where he was talking about like the people who drive. I'm driving and I obey the rules of the road. I see a street sign and it says, okay, I'll do that. So good.
The best one is he was like, why is the bathroom stall the place where everybody goes to like spew their hate? You go into a bathroom stall and you're like carving, I hate this group of people.
I was here, but not.
Yeah.
So good. I was talking about that one. So good.
Oh man, hilarious. Well, I am on vacation right now. I am out in beautiful Jersey Shore with my wife's family. She is from New Jersey, and every year we spend a couple weeks out here, and it's awesome, man. So it's nice to recharge the battery, but pumped to get on here with you today. And I had a lot of fun with this episode. Like we get asked all the time, like, what does it take to be great? You know, what does it take? We have so many parents, so many kids that reach out to us. Like, what do I need to do to achieve my dreams? And this is it. Like, this is a lot of what we've learned, like in a nutshell. These are the things that as a hockey player and as a human being, we feel are attributes of the best of the best that we've been able to work with, you know. And, you know, Vex, you and I both played with, coached players in the NHL, players in the Olympics, players in the PWHL. And there are certainly some commonalities to the way that they're wired and the things that they do. And obviously we talk about it a lot. Everybody has a different path. Every journey is not the same. However, there are some key attributes, some key characteristics that we feel like these people possess that if you don't feel like you have those, then it's born to work on it and build those skills up to be the best of the best in this sport. So I don't know about you, but I had a lot of fun with this episode.
Absolutely. I mean, Toph and I are just trying to share the wisdom that we acquired through our own careers. Toph's then coaching career, my coaching career in the gym for 19 years, like all the best players that we played with, played against, got to coach, seen them move on, talking to them. So we literally every show, we are just trying to give you guys as much quality information that will actually help move the needle, that has been proven with player after player after player and years of experience. So if you listen to this stuff and you think about it and you digest it and you work on it, I literally guarantee it's going to help you or your player get closer to their goal. So this is going to be a great episode for you guys.
Yeah. And, at the end of a lot of our intros, what we've been doing lately is, again, in Hockey Think Tank we put out a piece of information, a video, something every single day, just to kind of get people to understand kind of what it is of the info and the content that we put out there for people. And one of the things that I wanted to share with everybody here today, I think is really, really relevant for what we're talking about and how to develop great players at the end of the day. And so I'm rereading this book. It's called The Culture Code. Great book, unbelievable book. And you're a big Hormozy guy, Vex. I know, like you kind of follow him and stuff. And I there was something that he said, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but he said something to the effect of like, if you want to get great information, it's not about reading 100 books. It's about reading a couple books 100 times. And so the Culture Code, so you like reread it and get, those ideas that you love back, and it just kind of recenters you on different things. I thought that was really interesting and pretty valuable too. And so I'm rereading this book, and basically this author, what he does is he goes out and he studies all these like really, really high performing cultures. And one of them is the San Antonio Spurs from, the last couple of decades, where Greg Popovich was the head coach. They won, I don't know how many NBA championships, but they were the gold standard in the NBA for a long time. And there was a quote in that book that really resonated with me. And I think it'll be really analogous to what we're talking about right now for the coaches that are out there. And so the quote that was in the book that I put out in Hockey Think Tank U this week, it's the assistant coach of the team is actually the person who says this, but he says, a lot of coaches can yell or be nice, but what Pop does is different, says assistant coach Chip Engelland. He delivers two things over and over. He'll tell you the truth with no bullshit, and then he'll love you to death, right? He'll tell you the truth, and then he'll love you to death. And I think that is like such an amazing thing that all of us as coaches, and probably even as parents too, need to take to heart, because like kids, they want to be told the truth. You talk to any pro player and it's like, what do you want from me as a coach? Just be honest with me, be flat out honest with me. And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but when I was working in Michigan, one of the things that we did with our players, was we gave them all like a communication survey. So what's the best way to communicate with me? What are your pet peeves of coaches that have done in the past? Like, what are the best ways to motivate me? All that kind of stuff. And the biggest theme that came from that was, don't BS me. Don't sugarcoat things. Be honest with me. I want to know the truth. And so we did that. And a lot of times when we had to have hard conversations with the guys, we would start with that. Like, we would take out the communication sheet and it would be like, hey, you wanted blunt honesty, so here you go. And even with the good stuff too, you guys want blunt honesty? That was awesome. Like it was. And so be honest with them. But I think like when you're coaching people hard, or you're leading people hard. And when I say hard, I mean, you're holding them doggedly to high standards. That doesn't mean yelling. That doesn't mean screaming. It means just holding people to high standard. The second part of that quote, I think, is just as important. And that's, he'll tell you the truth with no BS, and then he'll love you to death. And then he'll love you to death. And so a couple things that come to mind for me, number one is, we talk about it a lot, Vex, right? Kids want to know how much you care. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's the saying that kind of everybody knows, but it's so incredibly true. the more you invest in the relationship, the more a kid is going to want to run through a brick wall for you. And so just like understanding that. And then I think the other thing too is one of the thing in the parenting world, because I like to do a lot of research on parenting too, just as a parent and with what we do at the Hockey Think Tank, and like the mental health world too, is one of the things I hear a lot now is about repair. It's a lot about repair. And as leaders, as parents, as coaches, we are going to make mistakes. And we are going to push kids too hard. We are going to say the wrong things. We are going to be hard when we shouldn't have been hard. You know, we are going to make mistakes as leaders. Everybody is going to do that. But what do you do after that? Are you going to let a kid sit with that and let them sit with those feelings and not understand, you know, how you feel and kind of guess in their minds about what you think about them as a coach, and they're always going to go to the negative? Or are you going to go back to that kid and do the repair? Hey, I know I was really hard on you yesterday, but you want to know why? It's because I really believe in you and you're not hitting the standards that I know that you can hit. You know, or like even me as a parent, when I am too hard on my 9-year-old, right? There's so many times where I just kind of lose it because I'm annoyed or I say something I shouldn't have or whatever. And like, I always make a conscious choice, like, hey, like I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. But this is why, you know, and these are the things that we got to get better at together, me and you kind of thing. And so like, I absolutely, there's a reason why the best are the best, right? And Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in NBA history. He has multiple dynasties with San Antonio Spurs. I don't know how many championships, but man, that quote, it just really, really resonated with me. And I think if we want to develop great players, we have to be hard on them, right? We have to be hard on them. Again, define hard, having high standards and holding them doggedly accountable to those standards. And then they have to know that we care about them. That's how you develop elite players as coach.
So, it's so true, man. I mean, you know, you hit the nail on the head, and everybody says it. It's cliche, but it's so true. It's so true. Coaches or players want to know that the coach actually cares about them. You can scream, not at a 2-year-old, 6-year-old, whatever, 8-year-old, but like you can scream at an older player if the player knows that you really care about them and you have their best interests at heart. Now, am I saying you should scream at a player? No, but I'm also not saying that you shouldn't scream at a player, right? Just it kind of depends on the situation. But the point is, like, when the player knows that you care about them, you want the best for them, you are there to help them, no matter if they're playing well, not playing well, whatever. If they know that your criticisms, your critiques, your talks, whatever it may be, are coming from a place of, I'm doing this to help you and help the team and help your career, they will take it on the chin every time. You just have to put in the effort and the intentionality to make sure that they know that before the critique, and sometimes after, depending on, you know, how it goes down. If you do that as a coach, as an organization, watch what happens. They will run through a freaking wall for you. But the opposite will also happen. If you don't take the time, energy, effort to lay the foundation of care before and or after, all right, they will turn away from you. Like, it's psychology 101. We're not asking you to be soft on players, but we're just telling you how it is. And if you want to get the most out of your players, this is the way to do it. And you can be way harder on players if you do this first, like 100%.
Yeah. We're not asking you to be soft. We're actually asking you to be hard.
Yeah.
You know, we're asking you to be hard, hold people to high standards, hold them accountable. But you can't do that unless they know you care about them. And you have to invest a lot of time to doing things to show them that you care at the end of the day. So
100%. I just put a massive sign up right above the drinking fountains in my gym, and it says, elevate your standards. Elevate your standards, elevate your life. Like, if you elevate your standards daily, weekly, monthly, as a career, you will elevate your life 100%. And that's something only you can do. And coaches can hold you accountable, but they can hold you as a coach, can hold them accountable to 2 very high standards if they know you care.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, so those are the types of things we put in Hockey Think Tank, you guys. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of researching, listen to a lot of podcasts. And, I have a lot of people like Vex and other people at all levels of the game that help contribute to give you guys stuff like this that can help make you better. So, Hockey Think Tank, you. It's a blast. And so I want to get to this conversation that we had on developing elite players. But first, we do have some people to thank. First, want to thank our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all of your coaching education needs. They got thousands of drills. They got whiteboard explanations from really high-level hockey people, the ability to go in, digitally draw up your drills, and create a library for yourself of drills and practice plans so you can go back to them every time you go to practice. But not just for yourself. We have actually partnered with them to do a platform where you can get this for every single coach in your association. So also, not only do they have a coaches portion to icehockeysystems.com now, but they also have a family portion to icehockeysystems.com, and great parent guidance, parent information for all parents out there that want to learn a little bit more about the game or want to learn how to support their player a little bit as they go on their journey, and also some really cool content and things from some of the highest levels of the game for the players out there if they want to get better as well. So go to icehockeysystems.com today, guys. Check it out. You will be really, really happy that you did.
Woo! Want to say a massive thank you to Train Heroic, guys, with seasons coming around. If you want quality training online for your players, your teams, your organizations, or your individual, I offer all these. All right. I've worked with probably a little over 100 organizations since 2020 now for in-season training. That could be for young players at home, supplemental stick handling, shooting, body weight exercises, very simple stuff that any young player can do from home, however many days a week your club, your team wants. I also offer in-gym programs where if your team doesn't have a gym in the rink, if your team wants quality, actual training along with mentorship from me, all of this is done through Train Heroic. It's hilariously cheap on a cost per month per player basis. So please reach out, just like NCAA D1, NCAA D3, USHL, NOL, EHL, AJHL, teams at every level that I've worked with online have done. I'm only here to help and make it as cost effective as possible. So thank you to Train Heroic for making all of that possible.
Boom. And also want to thank Helios Hockey, one of the best development products out there on the market. It is a sensor that you put into your shoulder pads that gives you real-time data and feedback on your play, specifically with two big things, one being a hustle score. Every time you move out there, that thing lights up, and you can compare yourself to kids at your age all over the world, and gives you a little bit of a sense of how hard you're working out there on the ice. The kids absolutely love that one. And also skating. Skating is one of the most important skills in the game today. If you want to play at the highest levels of the game, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, being a great skater can certainly put you in a position to be able to do that. And so it's got great metrics on there for your skating and great development stuff on there to help you become a better skater as well. But the kicker, the best thing about it is this chip that you have in your shoulder pad, it syncs up with whatever video you're using. We're talking Live Barn, we're talking iPhone, we're talking iPad, camera, whatever it may be. And you can get your shifts from your game or your reps from your practice cut out for you directly after you are done with that session. So imagine right after a game being able to get to your iPad and, oh, my shifts are there. You can watch them on the car ride home. Unbelievable for development. If you do have a video coach, it's something that can really help to get them that video as well. So it's amazing. So if that is something that you want, go to helioshockey.com, and we have a coupon code with them, ladies and gentlemen. It is Think Tank, one word. And if you use that discount code on checkout, you will get a 20% discount on your Pro Annual or your Pro 24-month subscription. So go to helioshockey.com today. And thank you, as always, to all of you guys, our amazing listeners. 7.5 years of doing this. We continue to pump this baby out here because we love it. We absolutely love providing this insight, this perspective from our perspective to the hockey world. And if you could, for us, if you think we're doing a solid for the hockey community, then if you can shoot us a rating or a review on your podcast app, download us, follow us, comment, all that kind of stuff, gives us some feedback on how we can be better. And it's big on that whole algorithm thing to get into more minds and into more ears. So if you could do that for us, that would be amazing. We love you guys. Like we said, I think you guys are going to love this episode. Again, it's just Vex and I riffing here on a lot of our experiences and what we've seen. in elite players. And so without further ado, here are our top 5 traits, characteristics, whatever you want to call them, of the elite players in the game of hockey. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast. Just kidding. We don't have a guest today. It's just Vex and I, but we are going to have some fun today. Vex, you ready to rock and roll with this thing here?
Yeah, buddy. Let's go. Just the two of us. Cousin connection. Let's get it.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. You remember when Dr. Evil and Mini-Me did that in Austin Powers 2? They did that whole big dance.
Good. So good. So good.
We are idiots. Okay, anyways, so we're going to talk like the top 5 attributes of great hockey players. Like what do these people, these men and women who are just awesome in the game, these are the people that ultimately max out their potential, ultimately reach their dreams. Like, what are the things? And these are all things, guys, that we have talked about at various different times all the time on the podcast. Like our job, like we really want to make sure that we're providing as much perspective and as much information that can help, especially the kids that are listening, to achieve their dreams, and for the parents and coaches that are listening to support those kids in helping them to achieve their dreams. And the crazy part too is, like, a lot of times we talk about stuff that kids should develop to be the best that they can be, but that stuff translates. You know, these are things that can help all of us be better husbands and dads, wives, moms, business people, whatever it may be. So this one's going to be a little bit more hockey specific. But it's interesting. Like when I kind of came up with this list, I was thinking about like recruiting, honestly. Like, what are the things that like I really want to see in a player? What are the things that help me jump out of my seat, both when I'm watching a kid on the ice and when I'm doing my character research on the kid as well? And so, Vex, if you're ready, like let's talk about some of this. Like, what do they need to be developing to help them to achieve their dreams in this game? Okay. So,
love it. Let's get after it, baby.
Let's do it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a little U-turn here. Not a
U-turn.
I want you to give me your number one. Like, what is an attribute of any kid, if they want to be great at this game? Go.
Self-belief.
Ooh.
Okay. You can't get anywhere if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in you can.
I love that. Expound. Go longer. How do you develop that self-belief, Jeffrey?
You earn it every single day. You know, that I love that saying, success isn't owned, it's rented, and payment is due every day.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to earn it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. You're the best player on the ice yesterday, but then you're the worst player on the ice today. And then you're the worst player on the ice the next day. Well, guess what? You're not gonna be on the ice pretty soon. You know, so it's like you got to show up every single day. You have to earn it every single day. You have to keep building yourself every single day, mind, body, spirit, IQ, all of those things, sports and life. And the only way that you do those is believing that you can achieve something. But the only way that you believe in yourself that you can achieve something is by earning it every day and seeing that you're getting better every single day. And so you're in a positive feedback loop. So it's not like you just start believing, right? It's the belief comes from earning it. And then you see some results, which then makes you continue to earn it, which then makes you continue to believe in yourself that you can do it. You can get to that next level, you know? And so it's, again, we've talked about it multiple times in the podcast. You've got to constantly be finding ways to put yourself in positive feedback loops.
I love that so much. How many, like, you're obviously on social media quite a bit. Like, whenever you see different locker room pictures of people in different high level college pro locker rooms, do you see the words "earn it" somewhere? I feel like it's become the trendy slogan. And I don't mean to say trendy in a negative way. I just feel like people, that's like the message that we want to, and I think maybe part of it, Vex, is there's such a kind of problem with entitlement now, you know? Just because I play here, I should get this. Just because this is my agent or advisor, I should get this. Just because I'm at this level at this time, I should get this. When in reality, so many different things change throughout a journey, and you have like this entitlement. And maybe that's why we're seeing the word earn more, which is a good thing. It's a really, really good thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that you just hit the nail on the head because of the entitlement, and I'm not trying to say entitlement has been earned. The entitlement is partly there because of what social media has done to make societies closer yet further away somehow at the same time, and show only the good and see only the successes. So yes, that's made more kids. Well, it's going to be easy because this kid did it and I'm better than him, I think, and he got there. So I'm just going to get there. And yeah, 100%. Then it's probably a good thing that we're seeing more people talking about earning it who actually know how to earn it.
Okay. So I want to actually keep going on this because I in my newsletter that I sent out this week, I talked about something that was a little bit kind of tangent to what we're talking about right now. And that's like the comparative culture, And I think like when we talk about comparative culture as a bad thing, right? Like you never want to compare yourself to somebody else's journey. You want to compare yourself today to who you were yesterday. Compare yourself based on the intent that you put into things, your process and all of that, because there's so many different variables to quote unquote making it. You don't want to compare your journey with somebody else's. And I was listening to a podcast yesterday. Do you know who Ed Milet is?
Yeah, dude, I've seen him speak live. Best speaker I've ever seen speak.
Okay, so I listen to his podcast pretty regularly, and he had a woman on. I can't remember her name right now, but she's also like a really big public speaker, and she actually talked about comparison in two different buckets. So what she basically said is there's like a kind of like a toxic way of thinking about comparison, and then there's also like a really beneficial way to think about it. And so she said comparison on the toxic side is you see it as somebody else's win is your loss. So I'm just as good as X player, but X player got drafted and I didn't. Yep. I had more points than this player, but they got the commitment and I didn't. Or they signed with this advisor group or agency and I didn't. You know what I mean? Just like you're comparing based on results oriented things. But then, and this is what made me think a lot. And she said, or comparison is seeing evidence that you are capable, so you flip that a little bit and it's like, oh, that kid got a college commitment. Well, I actually think I'm better than him. So I might even be closer to a college commitment than I thought, or that kid, I don't know, got an award or something like that. And, I'm right there and I work harder than that person. And so they got it. So I'm next kind of thing. And so I just think it was a really, like, honestly, you could find a positive in like everything.
I would actually argue.
I would say everything, but like everything that there's a way to reframe everything that happens to make it where it can be a positive force in where you're going,
I would argue that it's your job to do that.
Yeah. Totally.
If your goal is to be successful at anything, it is and honestly, if your goal is to be happy, it's your job to find a way to reframe what is happening at this exact moment so that your mind perceives it as a positive, or this is a sign, or this is showing me what is possible. Like instead of what Toph is saying, oh, he got there, so I should be there. And I'm definitely no, that's not what that means. Or he got there, oh my God, I'm never going to get there. No, that's not what that means either. There's somebody who I played against on the same ice that is getting to where I want to be. What does that mean? It's freaking possible. Same age, same league, playing against all the same teams, and they are making it to X level that I want to be at. Guess what? That means it's possible.
Yeah.
Let me put in the work. That's how you got to look at it, right? It doesn't matter what happens to you. It's how you're going to use it for you. And that is the most important lesson I've ever learned in my entire life.
Yeah. The word reframe we've talked about on the podcast. It's like, for me, with all the information that I ingest. It's the one word that I feel like the positive, podcasts and posts on social media, whether it's like psychology, whether it's mental health, whether it's performance, all that kind of stuff. The word reframe is the word that I'm seeing probably the most of any other word. And if you can get good at doing that, and I mean, it's similar to how I grew up. I tell people all the time, like the biggest message that I remember my parents teaching me was find a positive. Whatever happens, find a positive in it, and use it to fuel you moving forward in a positive way.
Well, we had my buddy, the sports psych. He worked with one of my NFL guys. He wrote
Sulk?
Relentless. Yeah, Dr. Jason Sulk. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, listen to that episode and read the book, Relentless Solutions Focus. It is exactly what we're talking about right here, but adding an actionable step to it. It's something negative happened. I give myself 60 seconds to think about it. Maybe sulk, maybe if you want to. But after that 60 seconds, I have to take one action right now to get myself out of this hole and one step closer to my goal. That step could be an inch. That step could be a mile. But it's up to you to do that. And it's the same thing we're talking about here. And I literally promise you, if you do that, you instantly get better. You instantly get better. I don't care if we're talking about hockey, business, relationships, school, life. It is a life-changing philosophy, but you are the only one. The individual is the only one who can make that switch quicker, the reframe, okay, now what am I going to do? Now what's next, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. And I think that 60 seconds too. And I would argue that's kind of like just like a generic thing to say. It doesn't have to be 60 seconds, but like, it's okay to sulk a little bit, right? Like when bad things happen, that's another thing that I hear a lot now in like the psychology, mental health space is like, feel it, man. Like you fail, feel it. It's okay. Like the last thing, and I feel like talking to the dudes out there too, the last thing that you want to do is just bury that shit somewhere in your stomach, and let it fester there forever. Like it's okay to sulk. It's okay to complain. It's okay, to kind of feel sorry for yourself to a certain extent. At some point, you got to get to a point where you reframe that and then you move forward. And I think that's the hardest thing to do because that's a choice. It's very easy to sulk and make excuses and point fingers and all that kind of stuff. I do think it's important to do that. So you feel it, you can let it go through you. And then you're like, okay, now it's the time to move forward. And here we go. And as somebody who's an empath who feels things like very deeply, I kind of need to do that before I move forward just to kind of process it. But then there has to be a point, and this is something that I've learned because it's really easy to like just sit in the negative for a long amount of time. At some point you have to snap and just say, okay, time to move forward. Like, let's go. And that's not to say that the feeling of hurt or the feeling of rejection is going to go away, but the attitude is I'm going to use that and I'm going to find a positive in it and make it move forward. So I love that. Like you should take some time to, let's just say, mourn in the crap that has happened, in getting cut, in getting, getting broken up with by a girlfriend or a boyfriend, by, getting injured. There's so many different things that go wrong, but then it's like that reframe. Okay, boom, now let's go. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
100%. I think that the 60 seconds, like it doesn't have to be 60 seconds, but I also think that giving people kind of specific guidelines on what is that point definitely helps a lot of people, because if you don't, some people will, it's going to be tonight. I'm going to let it go tomorrow and the rest of the week. And so I don't know what that time is for everybody. And obviously the bigger the upset, the bigger the loss, the bigger the problem, you might need to take a little bit longer. But I also think that the quicker that you can frame it in your mind to be like, okay, well, I'm switching from negative to how can I use this? That's very important. It's very, 100%. Very important.
The faster you can get from the crap thing happening.
Why me to I'm going to use this.
Exactly. Like if you can narrow that gap, because nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to fail. But I do feel like, in my, let's just call it research of people who are really great at what they do, there's a very short window between failure and movement to get better or to change the circumstances or change the situation.
Yeah. 100%, dude.
So,
love it.
wow. Nice little tangent, Jeffrey. Good stuff, man. I'm gonna tweak my stuff a little bit because we're gonna keep that with number one. Like, you want to be great at what you do. You're right. Like, the first that you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. So I'm going to change my order around a little bit here. And I think the next thing that I want to talk about is, you talked about belief in yourself, but I also think that the belief in other people in you is also necessary if you want to be great at what you do. And it's the number one thing that we talk about all the time. What's the most important thing that you can do? Surround yourself with really, really good people. I don't think you can be great at what you do. I shouldn't say that. There are very few people who are great at what they do that don't have an awesome support system around them. 100%. It's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to do that. And so let me ask you, because I have a few things written down here, but like, when I say that as it relates to this episode, I want to be great at what I do. So I got to surround myself with people who are, going to help me to do that. What does that mean? Like, what do those types of people look like? What do they do for you? I want to ask and put it in your court first.
Yeah, I love that question. I mean, number one is accountability. Like, they're going to call you on your things and this is why it's so important to tell people your goals. Cause like, if you don't, how can somebody call you on your BS when you're BSing around, like, hey, I want to win testing to start the season for my team, but then you're out, being an idiot till 3 a.m, 3 times a week. Well, that's not going to help you win your testing. Is this really your goal? If you don't tell people what your goal is, how can they hold you accountable when they're not? How can they approach you and be like, hey, like checking you? So I think that people that will actually not be afraid to hold you accountable to what you say you want, I think, honest people, not just yes men that are around you. I think that's for one, that's really important to me. Won't be another one. Probably just like authentic people. Like they're there for the right reason. They're there for the right reason, whatever that means, and that's going to be different at different stages of your life and different stages of your career. But you see some guys who sign a big contract, then all of a sudden they got everybody wanting to hang around them and hang out with them. And it's like, yeah, are you there for the right reasons? Are you just using this person, like, type of thing? And obviously that's something you see at the older ages, but I think right off the dome, those are two top ones for me: authentic people being around you and people who are actually going to hold you accountable.
Yeah. I love that. Both of those, I think, are hugely, insanely crucial. You got to have people that call you on your stuff, because there's going to be times that even the most motivated of people are going to fall off the wagon and need a little kick in the ass. There's no question about that. The kids that I know, that, like, a lot of them that I've coached that have reached the highest levels of this game, they love the kick in the ass, it fuels them. They need it. They want it, and they want to be pushed as hard as possible. So having those types of people, and then the authentic piece, like, that's huge. And one of the things that I have is very similar to that. And that's like people that you just feel comfortable being you around, right? Like, yeah. Hey, I don't have to put on an act here, or I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. I can just be me around these people, and that's going to be good enough for them.
100%.
Like, you know what I mean? There's people in our lives that you call on the phone, or you meet up for coffee, or you're in a public place together, and you're just like, man, I can just let it rip. I can just be me. And there's not enough of that. I feel like, I don't want to say anymore, because it's probably always been this way, but you just got to find your tribe, find the people that you enjoy being around and who love you for you. And I think back to, like, so many of my different friends that I've had throughout the years, and, like, the best ones, man, it's just like, I don't even have to think before I talk. I just talk. There's no angle. There's nothing I want from them. There's nothing that they want from me. We can just be ourselves together. And that's the beauty of the relationship that we have. And I feel like so much of life has become so transactional Maybe it's just because you and I are so steeped in youth hockey, and I feel like youth hockey is so transactional. It's not about depth of relationship, especially with like all the jersey chasing and team hopping. Everything has become so transactional. So like surrounding yourself with people who, or if you're an adult, surrounding your kids with people that like you see your kids around and they're like authentically them around those people.
Yes, dude. Yes. And I would even add with this like authentic and good people and stuff, like people that when you're looking for these people and you're thinking about the qualities that make up the people that you want to surround yourself with. So who is a good person? Very simple question. Like when I'm around them, am I a better person? And, or do they make me want to be better at anything and everything? Mm-hmm. Right. Like that doesn't mean they don't want to go out and have fun. Like having fun is part of like life and being a good person, and that lifts me up. I can have fun with this person. I can let my hair down. And then, in the gym, are they there helping me be a better me? Do I want to be better when I'm around them? Do they inspire me? Do they light a fire under me? Like, does this relationship make the both of us want to be better and actually be better? And if the answer is no, like to me, that's dead weight. And this is an unfortunate part of growing up. It is very unfortunate. But as your responsibilities increase, whether that's family, whether that's you're playing junior hockey and you can be cut. So like now you've got to bring it every day or else your hockey career is over, or college or pro, or you're in the working world and you've got to provide, for yourself. You got to put food on your table, roof over your head. Those decisions become more and more and more important and heavier because of what they mean. And Toph says it more than anyone I've ever met. You are the 5 people you surround yourself with most. You will become the sum of those people. So you have to choose wisely. And a lesson that I have learned, unfortunately, the hard way, is I had to cut people out of my life that I was trying for long periods of time of my life to bring up and come on, let's go. Come on, come up here. Let's go. Let's be better. Let's go after things. Let's do this. And their energy and their actions were the complete opposite. And I literally had to tell some of my friends who I grew up with, hey, I love you. I want nothing but the best for you, but I'm not going to hang out with you anymore. And these are the reasons why. And there were a lot of conversations before that about that type of thing, but I literally had to do that because I believe it was what was best for them and what was best for me, my businesses, my family. I could not let that type of energy and those actions bring me down from what I'm trying to do with my life, with my family, with my business, and I know that one of those guys, and it's tough. It's tough. It's very hard. Think about it often, but I am in a better place. I'm hoping that gave them a kick in the ass to get in a better place. You never know, but like, as you grow up, these decisions really, really will matter and they will affect how you live your life.
Yeah. What's the saying? When people show you who they are, believe them.
Yes.
For the good and the bad and the ugly.
Yes.
No question. And I feel the same way. Like there were a couple people that I kind of had to lose as friends. And that doesn't mean, honestly, you have to like never talk to that person again.
Right.
But it's just like, hey, on a Saturday night, maybe I'm going to go hang with this different group instead of this group. And then we can circle back on Monday. I'll shoot you a text and you can tell me how big of an idiot you were on Saturday night,
Right.
But no, it's so important. And I was talking to somebody just the other day who has a son who's a very good player, who's at the ages now where this stuff really gets important. Scouting starts happening, recruiting starts happening, all that kind of stuff. And we were just talking, and it was interesting to get his perspective. But he was like, I've always chased people. I don't chase jerseys. I don't chase anything, but I chase people. That's if my son is going to achieve his dreams, I'm going to chase the best people that I can be around. Makes a lot of sense. That's what my parents did growing up. It's what your parents did growing up. Chase the people, man. Best people are going to make you the best version of you.
I love that.
So, okay. So we got like 1 and 2 or maybe 1. I don't really know. Like we might lose track of numbers here, but that's okay. But before, I want to get into a few hockey things right now, but I want to, share a quote that I think can like give a pretty good perspective to what we're talking about here. And that's from Craig Button. So if you don't know Craig Button, all of our Canadian listeners will certainly know Craig Button, but he is one of the top like draft analysts that's on TSN, in the media up there in Canada. He was a former NHL GM and, a really big person in the hockey media atmosphere right now. And there was a quote that I saw not too long ago that he said, and it said, he's talking about a kid that you draft. And he said, a pick is wasted if the development system behind it can't keep the player improving. The development system is the pick. I love that quote so much. I'm going to say it again. A pick, so we're talking about draft picks. A pick is wasted if the development system behind it can't keep the player improving. The development system is the pick. Ooh. And this is why development is so important. Like when you get drafted into a junior league, okay, like great. Doesn't mean you've made it. When you get drafted into the NHL, when you make the commitment to college, like it really doesn't matter, guys. It really doesn't, because there's so much developing that needs to happen underneath that. And so, even from like a scouting perspective, where a kid plays after you draft them is just as important as the kid you draft. Like you want them to have all the intangibles and attributes and the things that we're going to talk about here. But at the same time, if those aren't being fostered and improved before they get to you, then like you're not going to get the product that you thought you were going to get when they get to that level, or they need to be at that level, I should say. So I love that quote. What do you think about that quote?
I mean, yeah. Totally. And after playing pro hockey for 10 years and being in so many different organizations, because in Europe, a lot of the pro teams have like a club that goes all the way down, So
they are actually in charge of the development of the kids that are going to potentially go up to their top team. Yes.
Right. And that is their goal, is to take a kid to how many of these kids can we get to play for our pro team? And a lot of them have multiple levels of pro. So there, and then, in pro hockey in the US, you got the NHL, the AHL, and the East Coast, and they're all, almost all of them are affiliated, or they were back when I was playing. And so you could see and you would talk to other guys. Oh, what are you guys getting? Do you guys have a skills coach? What are they doing? What's it like before practice, after practice? How are they getting you better? And what's really cool now is hearing how guys choose teams based on those things, like you're saying right here, like choosing which college to go to based on what do you have available to aid in my development. Like my guys who are in juniors, who are sought after guys for college teams, are literally like, wow, I want to go here because this coach can help me get better at X or Y, and I really need that in my game. Or, hey, they've got this, and this to help me develop over here, and this team only has this. And like those are the conversations they're having now with the guys who are going to college hockey, who want to play in the NHL or want to play pro hockey after college. And it's super, super important. It's very important if your individual goal is to keep moving up in hockey.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. I think about when I was coaching in college, specifically when I was at Cornell, we had a bunch of draft picks on our team. And it's really interesting to kind of see how the NHL team still interacts with the player that's drafted, but playing for us now, because there was one team that they had like their sports site guy on a call with the player like every week before the games on the weekend. And that was a little much. And we've kind of figured out that like sometimes that sports site guy was like actually saying different information than like other people were saying to this kid. So he had like all these different, he's not there every day. Right. So it's hard to know what's actually best for the kid. Anyway, it was just really, really interesting. But then there's others, on the complete other end of the spectrum that like, you drafted my kid, do your thing, and we're not going to bother you. Like, just go. Right. And so that's where, because you don't have that European system where you're in charge of the people who are developing the people that you need to get to your level. So it's really important that the kids that need to get to your level are with people that you trust in their development, because you can't really have too much, even for this NHL team that had a once a week conversation with the player that was with us, they still like, that's it. That's all they had. They're not on the ice with them. They're not doing a whole host of other different things. They don't know the kid that well from being around him every single day. And so you have to trust the people underneath to develop the players. And I think it's something that every level should be like for USHL teams or junior teams, like what midget teams are the kids playing for? It's really important. College teams, what junior team is this kid playing for? That's really important. NHL teams, well, obviously they have their system between the coast and the AHL that they have more control over, but like what college team or what major junior team are they going to be developing with? You know, I think it'll be mostly college now that major junior kids can play in college, but like, man, the development doesn't stop, dude. And even when you get to the NHL, the development has to keep going because there's other people right behind you that want to take your job. So,
I mean, so many of my pro, specifically NHL guys, have their own video and skills coach that they pay a buttload of money to every single year because they have to continue to develop. They're getting coaching to develop in the team system, but then they're getting individual video and individual coaching, and their skills coaches fly out to them multiple times in the summer, multiple times a year, you know, to work with them on their stuff so that they continue to develop and get better, so that they can play their best, so that they can help their team win, which makes them get more contracts, which helps them make more money and all of those things. So that's happening at the highest level. You got to even get to that level. So it's super important to make sure that way down below that we're continuing to focus on development all the way up, not just who's winning. Yeah. Winning it can reflect development, but you guys who listen to the podcast, you know what we're saying.
And anytime, I feel like that relationship is really important too, between like let's call them the leaders of these people. There's got to be some sort of synergy there. You know, because if you have a skills coach that's telling you one thing and then you have a head coach that's telling you another thing, or if you're a college and you expect your player to be X when they get there, but the role that they're playing for the junior team is not that role. And that coach, you don't trust to develop the attributes that you need to succeed at my level with my team, you know, and that's where the European system is great because all that stuff is streamlined. And I think the best programs, whether it's like a youth program, whether that's a junior team, you know, whatever, every entity of that entity works together and is on the same page. You can't have your scouts that like a certain type of player that your head coach doesn't like to coach. You can't have your general manager, you know, having a certain player profile that the head coach loves players that has a completely different type of profile. You can't have your development coach working on things in a skill session that isn't going to translate to the identity or how a team plays. Like the more synergy there is between all of those. And that's where, you know, you can get in trouble by having so many different people in your ear. Like it's almost like trying too hard and getting so many people to help you be the best that you can be can sometimes be an inhibitor to actually getting better because you just get confused. And instead of like making the main thing, all of a sudden you become okay at a lot of different things instead of great at the things that are going to make you great. And so, yeah, like I don't even remember how we got to this. Oh, the Craig Button quote. You know, it's all about development, man. It's all about at every single age, from the time you step on the ice for the first time all the way through until you're done.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
Well, one of my junior coaches, you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Kriske, I had this written in every apartment I had my entire career, my parents' house when I'd come home when I was younger, in the off seasons in in college beyond, because I met Dave in college. And he had a saying that was, every day you either get better or you get worse. Like I loved looking at, and obviously like that's a very black and white statement, but it helps you kind of give yourself a kick in the ace. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean, oh, it's an active recovery day or it's a day off. You're getting better by actually taking the day off and not going do things that harm your body and not overworking yourself because a day off is needed to rest, which makes you better. So it's like, it's not just like I always have to be active and doing things. It's just meaning like make the good decisions, because if you're not doing things that get you better today, somebody else out there is, you know, and it always helped me to try and always make the right decisions during my career, whatever that would mean.
Love that. All right, let's get to it here. Let's talk about some hockey stuff. And I don't want to get too into the weeds on these because we've done like full episode podcasts on these kinds of things, in the past. But, again, like thinking about as a scout, as a recruiter, what are the things that I am looking at in players and what are the things that help me to jump out of my seat? And so, I don't want to talk too much about skill because that's something like, you got to be able to skate, you got to be able to handle a puck, you got to be able to shoot, all that kind of stuff. That's just kind of like pretty easy to talk about. But again, hockey sense, man. Talk to anybody. You want to be great at what you do. You want to be a great hockey player. You want to impress upon, people who are making the decisions on who makes teams and who gets drafted and who gets committed, all that. There's a lack of hockey sense in the general hockey playing population right now. You talk to anybody at those levels, it's hockey sense. Those are things. So what does that mean? Right? Like, what does hockey sense mean if I'm a scout? Let me ask you, like, what would you see if you're watching a game and you're like, man, this player's he can think the game or she can think the game. Like, what are the things that you're seeing that help you to come to that conclusion?
That they need to work on their hockey sense?
No, like what makes you jump out of your chair? Like, oh, that's a smart hockey player. That's someone that gets the game.
I mean, for me, it's like making like really good reads, really like in tight plays. In tight plays, you have to have hockey sense to be able to make in tight plays, mainly like passing. I'm talking about. I'm sure you have noticed as well as I with the last 8 years, maybe 5 to 8 years of a lot of like skills coaches being like, it's all about the puck's on your stick the whole time. You're going under and over these objects and you're doing all this individual work, which there's nothing wrong with that if it's done the right way and up to a certain point. But it's like, it's all individualized and it's the puck is always on my stick, but that's not hockey. The puck is barely on your stick in a game. The younger you are, the longer the puck is going to be on your stick. The older you are, the less the puck is on your stick. The best players in the world have the puck on their stick for less than 2 minutes a game, less than 3 minutes a game, probably. Okay, so it's like, why are we only practicing that? Like passing, small area, being able to make plays, just like beating people with your brain versus only your effort. To me, that's a high hockey IQ. Those are the things that I'm like, wow, it's not somebody out there just wasting energy when they don't need to waste energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So I love watching a kid that can make a play under pressure.
Yes.
And I love watching a kid in a chaotic situation that can make a play. Like, for instance, there's pressure coming down on you as a defenseman with the puck on the breakout, and all of a sudden you find a way to get the puck in between a forechecker's stick and their skate to find the center player instead of just up the wall, to rib it, because that's all I know what to do. Things like that. I just making plays under pressure. I was talking to somebody the other day who's a scout, and we're like, man, like, I don't know if I would ever like make an offer or draft a defenseman without watching every single one of their breakout puck touches and to see how they do under pressure on a retrieval, Yeah.
Love that.
And then you think about the game, the better you are at making the right play on retrieval, the less you're going to turn pucks over, which means the less you're going to have to defend in the defensive zone. And the game's all about puck possession, and you want to play in the O zone. It's just all that stuff is it's all interchangeable, not interchangeable. It's all connected.
I mean, I had Montreal Canadiens goalie Jakub Dobis in the gym. It was probably a week or two ago. And my junior group, he was in at a different time. So my junior group was working out while he was in there, actually. And I stopped the workout, and I make all of my older guys talk to all of my younger groups anytime they're in the gym. Even if we lose gym time, I think that that's the most valuable thing they can hear is from guys who played on the teams, been in the gyms that they're in, grew up where they grew up, that type of stuff. And then hear from, what's important, what matters, how did you get there, all that stuff. And a defenseman asked a question like, what are defensemen doing at the highest levels? Like why are these guys so good on your team? And he was like, what's crazy is how they can make plays look so simple when they're under pressure.
Yeah.
He's like, when I was in the NAL, when I was in USHL, when I was in college, even in the AHL, like the defenseman, would have some troubles. But the guys in the NHL, they get back there and they make a play almost every single time, whether there's one guy on, two guys on, doesn't matter the forecheck. Like they are able to make that play almost every time. And kids asking an NHL stud about that type of question, they're thinking it's going to be something sexy. It's going to be some crazy answer. They're unbelievable on the power play. They score a lot of goals. And Dobie's like, they make the breakout pass no matter how many guys are on them, no matter how close the forechecker is. If they get blown up, they still find a way to make that pass more often than not. And that's why they're in the NHL.
Yeah.
So it's just like same thing you're talking about here. Like those are the plays that really, really matter at the next level. And that shows you have a hockey IQ, figuring out how to make the plays no matter what's happening.
Yep. And that's where you understand and gain that type of understanding through unstructured play, small area games, right? That's where the beauty of the ADM and the way that we do practices now versus when you and I were growing up, there's so much value into that, like competitive games, unstructured play, being allowed to make mistakes and figure it out. Like that's where this type of hockey sense is developed. Now let's move on to another type of hockey sense. And that's what I would say kind of like pattern recognition, being able to read the different patterns that happen in a game. And this is where it can be a little bit more intentional with how you coach and putting players in different situations in practice that can develop these habits. So some of the things that I'm thinking about as it comes to pattern recognition is like, okay, I'm a D that was on a retrieval and I make a pass. Okay, but now I got to read, should I be jumping up in the play at this point? And so putting your players in situations in practices where they're going to have to roll off a forechecker and then they are getting up the ice and they're, the third or fourth player in a rush drill and they can get a puck off a delay or something like that. That's something that can be taught in video too. This is where coaching becomes a little bit more intentional. You think about like on a rush as a forward, do you understand numbers and where the pressure is coming from? So now I understand when to drive, when to delay, and what a typical, kind of entry would look like based on how many players that you have. So if you have 3 players up on the rush, you're going to have a middle drive. I know that that's an option. I know I got a third option on the far side. So can you read some of those different types of patterns in a game? You know what I mean? So like there's hockey patterns. Are you like as a center, are you ahead of the puck? When the puck goes D to D, are you getting the pass where you're looking behind you because you're so far ahead of it and it's a suicide pass? Or are you getting to a spot that's kind of lower and slower where you can get the pass at an angle where now you're getting the puck and you can see what's going on up the ice? So like, can you recognize the different patterns of the game that can allow you to have success, get pucks, have good, time and space when you do get a puck to make the next play? So we talked about like, small area decision makings, playing outside the lines a little bit, puck support, talk about reading the patterns of the game. Does that make sense, that patterns in the game part?
Yes.
Or do you have any other examples?
Well, patterns, yes. I think something separate, but it leads into that. And you were just talking about is also timing.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch a player who, what you just said, 3-on-2 and they're the third guy and they're in the wrong spot because they're moving too quickly to get to the net. They get too excited when they should have, I can see who's behind me. I can see how much time and space I have. I'm going to find this little area. I'm going to slowly slow down so that I can get this pass and then still get the shot off. Like timing, what you said, center, not getting too far ahead of the play so that they got to look back and now they get murdered. Instead of they slow play it, they time it, they know when to support, boom, boom. Now they're out of the zone just because you had better timing. That shows you have hockey sense. And then the other part of that you also touched on, but I think that's another really big point is you can see the players who have really good hockey sense by looking at how much time and space they have on the ice, because you earn your time and space by your timing, by your pattern recognition, by your positioning, by all of these things. It's not an accident that Clayton Keller comes over the blue line, opens his legs wide, is able to glide and find these little pockets, pull up, Gretter, whatever he's doing, escape, sauce it to the back door. Like, that's because of his hockey IQ. That's not because of effort or anything else. His hockey IQ is that high. the best player, like you, Topher. When Toph and I played together, I'm giving Toph the puck, and then I'm the meathead who's just going to try to find a way to get open while Toph finds a way to get time and space so that he can hit me backdoor. I can score and Selly like I did everything. It was actually all Toph. He just shot it off my skate and in. Right? That happened multiple times in the summer. That's because Toph's hockey IQ is very high. Me, it's a high hockey IQ play to trust Toph's hockey IQ and know he's going to get me.
There's a lot of people that have had a lot of success with that kind of hockey IQ too.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, what are the decisions that you're making before you get the puck that allow you to have the good conditions when you do get the puck?
Yeah. And that's not an accident like that. To me, to me, that's probably the biggest one when I'm watching younger hockey is going to be like, how do you manipulate time and space to get it for you, to take it away from the other team? Because below that goes into, well, how do you get time and space? Timing, pattern recognition, positional play, thinking the game before you, like, it has to happen.
Yeah.
So I think that would be my number one thing when watching a game. I'd be looking at, well, how much time and space does this player give himself and take away from others?
Dude, timing is everything. Timing is, I mean, that's actually a saying, isn't it? Timing is everything. I think that's like an actual saying that people use. But in hockey development, it is like every coach, every practice should have some sort of a drill that has a timing aspect to it. Yeah. 100%.
Think about the best goal scorers. Think about Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Watch Austin Matthews in the offensive zone when he doesn't have the puck. He's not only scoring goals because his shot is that good, his release is that good, his accuracy is that good. It's also because of the positions he puts himself at the right time to get the puck so that he can get it off in the space that is there. That is hockey IQ.
You saw that in soccer too with all the World Cup. You know, some people were like, oh, that Holland guy from Norway, he barely moves out there, but his timing is so good to get to spots when he can be in a scoring opportunity. Same thing with like Messi and some of these best players. You see them walking all over the field and you're like, maybe they don't care. Some people are saying it's like, no, they actually are just way smarter than everybody else and know exactly when to turn on the jets, when to slow down. Yeah, 100%.
I have a funny saying that goes into that. I use it all the time when people are talking about my business or me as a hockey player. I'm like, I'm just always F1 because I know my strengths and weaknesses and I'm not the hockey IQ guy. So it's like, let me go. I'll be F1. If I was behind a guy on the forecheck, they knew that I was going to pass that because A, I'm faster than him, and B, I need to be that guy to make our team better. You think I'll go, so that. Just a good joke there.
I love that. Okay. So I have one more thing on Hockey Sense, and that's just like understanding the game. So like game situations where you just get how to win, So I think about like you're on a 2-1, you're up by a goal. There's 2 minutes left in the game. You get the puck in the neutral zone and a defenseman is kind of getting up on their gap on you. And you just like chip it to an area and you spend 15 seconds protecting the puck in the offensive zone corner. I think of a forward who isn't afraid to take the extra step to get to the red line, to get a puck in deep, as opposed to like not wanting to get hit and icing the puck because you're a step away from the red line. Like your coach having trust in you in 6-on-5 or 5-on-6 type situations. Understanding and knowing when to change, like all these little intangible hockey sense, because this is the time of the game. This is the nature of the scenario of the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like a higher level understanding of winning hockey things that happen during a game.
Totally. 100%. Love that.
Do you have any examples or anything that like, you know what I'm trying to get at though? Just like a higher level understanding of winning habits.
Knowing the clock. No, like when I was younger, and because I usually was 6-on-5 or 5-on-6. I was on both sides of those on a lot of teams I played on, probably mainly because of my effort. But something that I don't know when I started doing it, maybe it was college. Like you're out there, you got 12 seconds left in the D zone. You're the 5. The other team's got their goalie pulled. You're up a goal. I started counting the clock in my head while I was defending. and I don't know if maybe somebody told me to do that, but up to that point, I knew when the puck dropped, there's 12 seconds, but then I'd have to constantly be looking at the clock. And I don't know when, and sometime in college, like the puck would drop, and while I'm playing in my head, I'm going 12, 11, 10, whether I'm in a battle, whether I'm sprinting out at a D-man, I would be, and like, I always thought, okay, like that is a higher level hockey play because I know exactly how much time I have, no matter where I'm at on the ice. I'm in a battle, my back's to the clock. I don't need to like worry or whatever because the countdown is going in my head, and then that will influence me to make a better decision no matter what's going on the ice. So like for me, I don't know, like that, if somebody's doing that, like they're trying to gamify the game. They're trying to think outside the lines and make the game easier on themselves. So I think, I don't know, that's a simple one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing I'm thinking about right now, like I love watching a kid that's like on a penalty kill and doesn't, when they get the puck in like the neutral zone, like automatically just ice it. They might turn around and then like their 2D are back by the net and there's nobody around them and they like pass it back to their D and it wastes another 10, 15 seconds. Just like little nuance of the game.
Got to change. Pass it back to your goalie. Keep possession of the puck, Like I loved doing that because I also thought it was hilarious because growing up, that would never have been a thing. And in Europe, I was always, or Europe, Japan, I was always first guy on the ice, 3-on-3 overtime. So when we needed to change, I'd rag the puck, or if I was, under pressure in the offensive corner, I would sauce it all the way down to our goalie and then sprint for a change. I just love that. I thought that was so fun because that wasn't nobody. I don't know about you in St. Louis growing up, things like that. It'd be like trying to make a pass on your backhand when I was 12 and they'd be like, what are you doing? Don't use your backhand ever. But actually it's not correct. You should learn how to use your backhand when you need it. So love that. Yeah. Those simple things.
And I'm even thinking of more things, like you mentioned the change thing, if you're in even if it's a 5-on-5 situation, but you're a forward and you have the puck and you're on an entry and you see that your two line mates have changed. Well, maybe I'm going to delay and hold on to the puck and not just give the puck up, or I'm going to chip it to a spot where I can at least cause a 50-50. So then when my teammates get out on the ice, we have a better, instead of just like flinging the puck and going for a change and all three change at the same time. And it's really easy for the other team to then just break the puck out. There's no pressure. So just like little nuance type things, just understanding the game. I love that stuff so much.
Yeah. For me, one of the big ones was, especially at Western and back then, like in college, nobody passed up the middle on the breakout. Very few people did in 2005 and 6. I get to the AHL and our first look almost every time was hit the guy through the middle right next to the post from the D-man behind the net, because that's usually what teams are going to leave open or whatever on the forecheck. I was like, whoa, this is kind of scary for me, guys. But like nobody was nervous about it. It was just, it was just life in the AHL making plays like that. And I just thought that stuff was so cool.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So hockey sense, we talked about hockey sense. Let's move on here. Compete, when you talk about two things, it just, man, like you have to compete. You have to want it more than the next player. It's got to be a habit that gets developed in practice. And that's where it is something that is certainly innate. I think some people are much more competitive by nature than others. I think I'm probably psycho when it comes to that, when it comes to hockey in a certain sense, and probably being 5'4" and having to be that competitive was part of that. But it is something, the more we allow our kids and the more we emphasize competition in practice, the more we're going to develop competitive hockey players. And again, I talked about hockey sense being at a minimum in terms of players coming up that have elite hockey sense. Competitiveness is also one of those things that scouts at the higher levels are absolutely craving for. And so I don't know what you think about that, Fax. And we've talked about compete, more times than maybe any other podcast has talked about anything in this podcast space, but you have to compete.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a pretty easy one to see. That's a pretty easy one that anybody watching any game can see immediately.
Yeah. 100%. I would say that
I puck over. Did you stop immediately and back check right away? Did you take a loop? Were you like, we all know, we've seen those players who do that. it's not a competitive person. And usually that means they're not competitive at anything they do.
Yeah. Be first to pucks in races, man. Like that's a big one. Like we used to watch it, and Benny was big on this too. Like if there's a race for a puck and you pull up and let the other player get it first, oh, that's a no-no. That is a big no-no. No, you want to get inside position. You want to take their hands away. That's my damn puck. And I get questions probably, I don't know, every couple weeks, maybe once or twice a month from parents of kids that are smaller hockey players. And that's the biggest thing I say is like, you got to have little man syndrome. It does not matter. It goes back to belief in yourself as a player. It does not matter what the conditions are of the player that you're fighting for a puck with. You have to win that battle. By any means possible, whether that's outthinking them, whether that's just because as a smaller player, physically, you might not be able to dominate somebody to win a battle, but you can want them, even though they're stronger than me, I want it more than you. And so I'm going to win that battle. Like there's a sense of compete. And the next thing that I have, it tailors right into it. And that's love of the game. Like how many competitive kids don't love the game in reality?
None.
Like if you have a passion for the game, you're probably going to have a passion for wanting that puck more than the other player that you're going against. And so those two go hand in hand. But just going back to compete for a second here, like for all the coaches out there, man, off ice drills, strength and conditioning, how can you make it a competition? In practice, how can you make it a competition? The more that you can keep score, the more that you can have positive or negative consequences for the winners and the losers. And kids love that. Like that develops a love for the game, I think.
100%. I mean, dude, I had to stop a training session on Tuesday. We were doing some races. And my big thing is compete. I don't care if you win, but I do care if you try as hard as you possibly can to win. Yeah, because that's how you get better through that competition, hating to lose. You're giving your all if you're trying to win, no matter what. And I have a kid who we've had a tough time with, like when he's losing, not giving up at the end of races and things like that. And, I talked to the group. I didn't single him out. I talked to the group, but he for sure knew that I was talking about him. Everybody else didn't. And I said, look, like, that's not how we do things here, guys. That's not, because if you do it, you do it here, you do it on the ice, you're doing it in school, you're doing it in life. If you don't compete, I don't care if you win. I don't care if you lose. I don't care if you trip. You still get up and you finish that race as hard as you freaking can. And if you don't, or you don't want to do that, doesn't mean I don't like you, but it will mean that you don't train here anymore. And they were all like, whoa. And I was like, I'm not kidding. If you don't try as hard as you can, you don't train here anymore, because that's not what we're about here. That's not what we're teaching. That's not pushing yourself to be better. That's not pushing the guys you're going against in here to be better. And I don't want that in here. You are not for this place if that continues to happen. Mm-hmm. So I had to have that convo, with a bunch of 13, 14-year-olds, 14-year-olds on Tuesday. But, immediately bought back in and was trying as hard as you can, and hope that we can continue to teach him the value of that and help him want to do that. And if he doesn't continue to do that, then he, unfortunately, he won't be training with us anymore.
Well, at the end of the day, he's not making his teammates better. If that's the case.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I don't like him, but that's not what my company is about.
Every championship team. Yeah, I love that. Every championship team I've been on, one of the staples is our just absolute will to win and competitiveness. And that was partly from recruiting, recruiting kids who are competitive and care about that stuff, but also the environment that's created in practice, man. Like every championship team I've been on, practices were harder than games. Our standard for competition and compete level was so much higher than anybody else that we were playing against, that the game, I don't want to say the games were easy, because games are never easy, but there was I'm going to suck your will out. Like we made teams quit based on how relentless we were in our compete level. And man, it's just fun. It's also so much fun. And also it's funny you say that, like with you in the gym, because I feel like that's where sometimes youth coaches err, in that they allow really talented players to get by on talent.
Yeah.
And for all the
and that's what this kid is too. He's talented.
Is he? Yeah. So
he's big for his age, which kind of helps with him dominating guys on the ice. But I know that is only going to last for as long as his early puberty rise versus the kids who are his same age who aren't as far in puberty. As when they catch up, will catch up to him, and he'll be like, how did I go from first to worst? It's like, because you didn't compete every day. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think sometimes youth coaches, with the way that youth hockey is and that you don't want to lose your best players, you don't want to coach those kids hard and hold them to those standards of like the want stuff. And you're ultimately kneecapping the kid if you're not holding them accountable to that standard, because you're right. People are going to catch up. They are going to catch up. They're going to hit puberty. They're going to want it more. So they're going to be better. They're going to be stronger because they're putting in the work off the ice. Yeah. Like we have to coach our top players harder than everybody else, because we're not preparing them for the next level if we're not. And don't be afraid to say what Jeff just said to your top players. Everybody's so scared that with how youth hockey is today, that if we coach the kid hard and we say those things, that they're going to leave and then our team's going to suck the next year. Okay, well, that might be true, but is that a kid that you want? Number one. And then number two, like, what's that precedent that you're setting for everybody else that's on the team too? Every championship team that I've been on, the best players were those types of players. They were the players that like were the hardest competitive. I think of a Matt Molson. I think of an Adam Fantilli. I think of an Andy Mealy, the two guys that won the Hobie Baker who I coached. Like, they had that intangible compete psycho in a good way mentality, and it lifted everybody else up. So it's not just for that kid, but also the culture of your team too.
Dude, 100%. That is so freaking important. It's so important.
All right. And then like dovetailing that, love of the game. You want to be great in this game, you have to love the game. You have to. And so as adults, again, we say this a lot, but what's the environment that you're creating that's going to either bring out or kill the love of the game in each player that you're in charge of?
Ooh, I think you got to say that again and go into.
Our biggest job is creating an environment where kids fall in love with the game every day. Because it's just simple, dude. Like, it's just really, really simple. If you love the game, you're going to want to do it more. And when you want to do it more, you get more consistent. And then you're going to have more intention with what you do when you're doing it. Like, so much of youth hockey has become a job for these kids, It's a job. There's so much pressure at such a young age. Like, we've done the numbers, the retention rates when things get serious. There's a drop off, guys. Why? Because like, if you're so serious and it's a job at 8, do you think that's going to get better by the time they get to 14 and 15 when it actually matters what your production and your play and performance is? So like, we have it so backwards where we focus so much on performance at these ages. No, it's got to be about developing a love for the game. It has to be. I question, not question, but like, I'll ask the question to every parent out there. Do you want the best 15-year-old and 18-year-old, or do you want the best 10-year-old? Like, that's a question that so many people need to ask. And for everybody that says, oh, you have to jump into this like craziness early, the numbers don't back that up. We've done the research. It doesn't. There's so much here in Illinois. There's so much back and forth, up and down between tier 1 and tier 2. Like, even as you get to like 12U, 13U, 14U. So like, it just like, what kind of environment are you creating that's going to help or hinder a kid from falling in love with the game?
It doesn't mean you're being soft. It doesn't mean you're not teaching life lessons, game lessons. Like, it's not what that means. But it's up to you as the coach, as the head of the board of the organization, to like put things in place where it's like, okay, like, it's our job to make this experience one that these kids want to be a part of every single day. Because if they don't, and then they don't come, they don't get better. Without consistency, you don't get results in anything in life. Doesn't matter what it is. Without consistency, you do not get real long-term results. So what do you need to do to be consistent? You have to show up all the time. You have to give effort. You have to want to be there. You have to want to battle and compete and participate and push yourself and push your teammates. Well, if you hate going somewhere, are you going to do any of the things that I just said? Like, this is psychology 101, like literally psychology 101. So it's something that people need to think about when they're creating practice plans, schedules, team rules, team goals, all these different things, culture. Like, it's just got to be a piece of it. This is in the military.
Yeah. Gotta love it, man.
People who are paying to be there. So if they don't want to be there, they're not going to continue paying to be there. It's not like you're giving them to this for free. It's not school, right? Like a public school. Like they have to pay to play. Hello. If they hate the experience, they're not coming back. They're not going to pay you.
Hello.
Fly.
Yeah, man. I just think about a culture of a group of individuals that all love the game, and how much fun that is to be a part of. And a lot of that is predicated by the environment that the coach creates. Do the kids absolutely love coming there? And even at the youngest of ages, as a coach, we should be judged by retention. How many kids want to come back and play for me the next year?
Especially at the youngest ages.
Especially at the youngest ages, 100%. So like, what's the environment that I'm creating where these kids are loving the game and they want to come back? Like it's everything. Dude, like every single player that I know that plays in the NHL that I've played with or coached, they love hockey. They love hockey. Like it's that simple. I shouldn't say it's that simple, but that's a huge part of the equation. Massive part of the equation.
I always try to look at the most successful people in any field, and then like, how did they get there? Every hockey player that plays in the NHL that has a long career, they love the game. They love the game, which means they want to work on the game. They want to get better at the game. But it's because they love the game that they are willing to consistently put in the time, put in the energy, put in the effort, put in the money for development, put in all of these things. If they don't love it, they don't continue to do it. So again, like if you reverse engineer success, and we look at what is the base of the pyramid, what is the foundation, what is the fundamental thing that we got to lay at the bottom, and then we layer on top of that. So we're not building a house on stilts. We're building a super wide base so that we can grow tall up on top of it like a skyscraper. Loving doing the thing is very, very, very important. Maybe the most important.
Yeah. And that dovetails into the last thing that I wanted to talk about as far as the traits that you need to have to be great at what you do. And that's being coachable. It's coachability. And I'll go back to Craig Button saying, a pick is wasted if the development system behind it can't keep the player improving. The development system is the pick. Well, a kid that's not coachable, doesn't matter what the development system is. They think they know what's best. They don't want to work. They don't think they have to work. Forget about it. You're not going to get any better. I don't care if you're playing for Shattuck. I don't care if you're playing for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't care if you're playing for the best junior team in the entire United States and Canada. Like, you have to be coachable. And I think, there's three ways that we can go with this facts, and we can talk about maybe all three, but like, first, let's talk to the players, right? Number one, like when I'm scouting and you go back to the bench and your coach is talking to you, like, we're watching that. Are you a player that's like nodding your head and then you go do that thing? Or are you the player that like doesn't look at your coach and you can tell that like you don't care about what the coach says? Like that's a red flag. That's a really big red flag. Okay. Then you think about coaches. How can coaches develop coachable kids? Well, it all starts with the relationship. The more you invest into the relationship with the kid, the more coachable that kid is going to be for you, and the more that they're going to develop that, right? So like if that kid knows that you care about them, they're going to want to listen to the things that you have to say. I think that's, really, really important. And then the last little leg to this is the parents. The kid won't be coachable if you don't allow them to be coached. So if it's always the coach's fault, or you're always questioning the decisions that the coaches are making, that kid is not going to understand the value of what that coach is saying to them. And they're not. And then if you do that enough and enough and enough, that coach is just not going to be coachable because it's never their fault. There's no way that they need to get better because they're perfect at what they do. If mom and dad says that, or they're always complaining about what the coaches are doing or making excuses. And so I think when we talk about like developing coachability in kids, it's equally incumbent upon the kid, the coach, and the parent to do that. Again, it takes a village.
Absolutely. You lost me at equally incumbent, but I agree with everything else.
Sorry, my bad.
Cornell, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I just, coachability, again, it goes back to what Craig Button said. You always have to be improving. You always have to be improving. And I know it's one of those things. I think back to, again, like the players that have reached their potential and stuff, a lot of similarities between them, and that like when you coach them, you only have to tell them once, hey, I'm seeing a game on video. You should try it this way. They go out and they actually practice it in practice, and then it's a part of their game, as opposed to the players. Like one of the things I talk about, and this goes back to compete too. If I have to beg you when I'm coaching you, I made a mistake in recruiting. I mean, whether you don't get it because you don't have the hockey sense, or whether you don't have the will or the want, to be competitive. If I have to beg as a coach, I have made a serious mistake in my player selection.
I'm freaking loving this. I'm loving this because, again, always trying to give my experience with the game. I've been coaching players at every level, NHL, Olympic, KHL, down to 6-year-old kids. The kids who you have to coach the same thing over. And I'm not talking about 6-year-olds. I'm talking about a little bit older. But if you have to say the same thing over and over and over and over, you don't care about getting better. Caveat, maybe you're not understanding. I'm not coaching it well. But the best players then keep asking questions. What do you mean? How can I do that? Is this right, coach? Is this what you're talking about? That shows an effort, even if you're not doing it yet, not getting it, not whatever, not executing, you're at least trying to get it. So like you're a dude. And again, thousands of players that I have seen either. I look at success with my guys. Did they maximize their potential, or did they not reach their potential? That's to me is success. So for me, I find just as much joy in helping a kid go from A to AAA as I do from juniors to a kid who wound up making the NHL a few years later. Like, those to me, I'm super excited for both of those. And the kids who hit that, whatever that is for them, their ceiling, they're the ones who are coachable. And when you tell them something, bang, they run away with it. And now you never need to tell them it again. The ones who don't actually care or pretend to care or are going to be mad at themselves later that they didn't care are the ones that you have to coach the same things over and over and over, or you turn around and they start doing it the way that they were doing it instead of the right way. Like that is a very big indicator of who really wants it and who's going to maximize their abilities and have the most success that they could within their skill limitations, let's call it.
Yeah. And the best that I know too, they seek it out. They seek out coaching.
They ask questions.
Yeah.
All
they're
curious.
They're asking questions. Now there are
some
a few that do that. And it's, hey coach, I'm showing you that I'm coachable. And it's more of like a self-serving kind of thing than like actually wanting
to get out of here. Stop sucking up.
Yeah, it's like, buddy, I had a kid I coached once. I was like, buddy, are you a good player? Yeah. Do you make the right decision 90% of the time? Yeah. Then get out. Like, you're fine. We don't need to do this right now. Like, stop sucking up to me. Let's go. Yeah. So coachability. All right. So if you want to be great, just to level it all back, starts with self-belief. I love how we started with that and took that tangent. That was great. Starts with self-belief and the belief that other people have, and you surround yourself with really good people. Then we talk about hockey sense. We talk about skill. We kind of glossed over that a little bit, but we talk about compete. We talk about love for the game, and we talk about being coachable. So if you can do all those things, guys and girls that are out there, that's big. And I will end this episode with this. One of the things as a scout that we would love to see in players is growth. So I watch you in September and then I watch you in March. And if you see a growth in that player where you're like, holy crap, that kid like got stronger, or that kid's dominating now, or wow, like I didn't think much of them before, but that shows me that you put in the work, you love the game, and like all the things that we're talking about right now. A great way to see that is growth in somebody's game, whether it's during a year, whether it's after a summer, and you come out the next year and you're like, wow, that player put on 15 pounds and they just look more mature and they're dominating now. So growth is a great way to do that. But great stuff today, Vex. Nice work, man.
Love it.
It all comes down to this: a best-of-7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sportsbook app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series, all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks, expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.